Hey guys, this is Chris from Offshore Secrets, and in this video I want to give you my experience, my personal experience of going through the Panamanian Friendly Nations visa process in 2016. I did this process with two friends and business partners. We made a very quick decision. It literally took us from the moment we thought about leaving Germany to sitting in the airplane to Panama. I think not much more than 4 to maybe 6 weeks passed. We had this thought in October of 2016, and in November we were on the way to Panama to get the process started. And I'll tell you all of the little things that were going on in my mind at that time, what I thought when I arrived there, what I thought during the process, how I felt. And it was a very, very exciting time because it was a big decision. We're leaving Germany. We're doing this. We know that once you've left and you've gone through all of this effort, it doesn't really make sense to go back. I mean, you're creating a little bit of a barrier between you and your home country because you've invested time, you've invested energy, you've invested a lot of different things, and you've prepared everything for this setup. So there is a big chance you're not going to reverse this. And Panama is also a very interesting country. It's the first time I saw that part of the world, Latin America. I had been to Brazil before, but Panama City and the Brazilian cities that I've seen didn't really compare. It's something very different. It's a mixture of like Miami and a Latin American city. And so we went there with a lot of excitement to get this going, very intrigued about the whole process. We checked into our Airbnb, and the next day we met with our lawyers. Now we could have planned this whole trip a little bit better. Thankfully, we scheduled quite a long time in Panama. I think we were there basically 3 weeks at least. I think it was more close to a month. And we really needed the time because of our not ideal preparation. In an ideal preparation, you would split up this whole residency process in 2 different parts: an off-site process and an on-site process. In the off-site process, first you start collecting all of the necessary documents. This is what we did. We collected all of the documents. This took us maybe 2 weeks to get everything sent to us, to make the right phone calls, to figure out even how to get a few of these documents like bank reference letters. This is not something that is super common in Germany with German banks. So some of the banks didn't even know what we wanted, and we had to tell them basically what a bank reference letter needed to look like, what it needed to say, and so on. And then you need a clean criminal record, and you need the criminal record apostilled, and this takes some time as well. We didn't get any of the documents translated, we just had them in German. We left that to our lawyers in Panama. And when we arrived there, the first thing we did was incorporate the company. And this is something that takes between 3 to 7 days in general. And it's also something that you could be doing completely remotely. And had we known that it is possible, we would have done it remotely. Because you're getting a big part of the process already out of the way before you're actually going there. And then it just takes less time in Panama and less things can go wrong. Because there were delays, a few delays along the process, and in the end it was really a close call to get to the final step before our flights back. We managed to do it, but there were a few days where we were really nervous if we would be able to get it done in time. In Panama, the process basically consists of going to different places, signing different documents. You have to go to banks, and you have to go to the migration office. Those are pretty much the only 2 places you have to visit. I think in total it's 3 different office runs. 2 to the migration office, 1 to the bank, maybe 2 to the bank, because first you need to open the account, then you need to deposit money and get a paper showing that you actually have deposited a certain amount of money. Below this article, I will link, this video, I will link to an article that I've written explaining the step-by-step process and all of the little details about the tax system in Panama and all the reasons why Panama is, a good choice. And if you're interested in knowing all of these details, you can read that article. And the process was very straightforward. We were in good hands. We didn't have to worry too much. Our lawyers kept us good and well informed about all of the different steps that were going on. And they also make the migration visits really, really convenient. There is, on an average day, there may be like 100 people waiting in line, possibly more. This whole thing is packed. And they send someone there in the morning, a paralegal, who will pick a number, and then he will wait basically in line for you until it's time for you, until the number is getting close on the screens. Then they call you, you get there with a taxi or an Uber, and then you maybe have to wait half an hour until it's your turn. You sign a few documents, you take a few pictures, you smile, look into the camera, and it's done. And once this process finishes, you end up with a multiple entry visa in your passport. This will allow you to come and go as you please. If you wanted, you could just stay in Panama after that has been completed. You don't even have to leave. But once you've done that, you're free to go. Then the process, is doing its thing in the background. It generally finishes after maybe 3-4 months, and you have until the end of your multiple entry visa to come back to Panama and pick up your permanent residency card and finalize the process. And I'm really happy that I did this. This was, one of the most interesting things I've ever done. This is something that before I went to Panama, I didn't even know existed. I didn't even know this was a thing. Since then, of course, I've learned so many different options that you can do this and what other options there are in the world. But at that point, this was something really, really new and interesting. And pretty much now have this, by doing this process, now I've developed this bond with a completely new culture, a new country. I have friends there, I know the city, I feel at home. And every time I arrive at the airport and I see the sign that says, foreign residents, and it's this, almost, you can consider it a VIP line into the country. There are the other tourists, and they're going through these lines, and there's 50 of them. And then there is this special line where there might be one person ahead of you, and then you're in the country. You just feel very at home, and it's a great feeling. If you have more questions about this process, feel free to send me an email to my email address below this video in the description, and then I can put you in touch with my law firm and give you whatever else you need to do this process if it makes sense for you. Hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to this channel, and I hope to see you guys on the next video. Take care.